Hey guys, it's Bud here out with another video. This video is again about math, and I am sorry we will have to but prolong the waiting for the CSS videos. But until then, we are going to be focusing on mathematics. And I know some of you are crying, oh, when are we gonna get it? Hopefully next month, or after Game Maker, because we're thinking of doing Game Maker now. We might need CSS for our Game Maker later on, but let's not worry about that right now. Let's worry right now about, let's get this out of the way, and completing the square when a equals 1. Now, you may be looking at that like, what does that mean? I will show you what it means right now. Now, before we go into this, we need to do reverse finding b, or at least this is what I call it. What is reverse finding b? Well, you know how with a squared times c squared, like 2 times a squared times c squared equals b? Well, we have to kind of do the reverse of that, but this time when a is equal to 1. So, when it looks something like this, and you're probably thinking, well, if a equals 1, then it's not really there since it's timesing, and the only thing we can really do is times and divide. Even if we divide b by 1, it won't do anything. You're right, it won't do anything. That's why we're starting off with a equals 1, because it's very simple. So what do we do then? Well, we technically don't count a as anything, but we do move the 2 to here. So how do we do that? Well, since 2 is timesing by a and c, we divide all this by 2. So, and when we do something to one side, we have to do it to the other. So, when we divide all this by 2, which gets rid of this 2, we have to divide the b by 2. So now it looks b divided by 2 equals squared c. But we want to get this to b equals c. So, what do we do here, you may be asking? It's very simple. We actually, since we know this is a square root over here, one second. Can't see my mouse for some reason. You may be able to see it, but I can't. Since it's the square root right here, we just have to square root c. And since we're square rooting one side, we have to square root the other. And that way, it gets rid of this. So, that's how we do this. We just put b divided by 2 exponent 2 equals c, and the c is gone because, the c is still here, but the square root is gone because we put it exponent 2 here, which got rid of the square root. So now that we know this, by the way, this is called the same thing as the other thing. It's still called a check. But we're going to have to use this to come up with some crazy numbers, so bear with me. Alright, for our first example, and probably our only example for this whole thing, well actually we have 2 examples, but we're going to do the same thing for both of them. So, complete the square and state the vertex for each of the following. Now, what is the easiest method to finding the vertex? Oh yeah, isn't it called vertex form? Yes, it is, and that's actually what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get this number, which is, you can obviously see that it's in standard form. Even though you can't see the c, it's still in standard form. So, you may be wondering, how are we going to get this into vertex? Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to do our check. Why, you may ask? Well, we kind of have to find the c value in order that we know where the vertex is. And I know some of you are going, but isn't the vertex 0 since obviously there's no, c there? Well, yes, but remember, we still have to find a c value so we can put it in vertex form for some certain reasons. So let's do our check here. Check. And remember, it is b over 2. Exponent 2. So replace the b with the -4. And you may be wondering, why do we have to put the negative in there? Isn't it just going to end up as a positive anyways? Bear with me once again. It will all make sense in the end of this question. So put that in. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2 square. So then we... Oh, and by the way, notice that I changed the color for negative 2. There's a reason for that. You're going to see it very shortly. So then we just square it, and then it equals 4. And notice the 4 is also a different color. So what does this mean? Well, let me first show you the answer. And I know what all of you are thinking. Why is there 2 4s? And why do we still have this 4? I don't understand. Okay, this is basically what we have to do. Basically, since we square root of this, we don't know if the 4 is supposed to be a negative or a positive. So we put both in. Why do we put both in, you may be asking? Well, 1, we don't know if it's negative or positive. 2, if it is a positive, well, we can't put a positive out of nowhere. How is this going to be equal to this? Because as we know, the top part should also be equal to the bottom part. So how is it going to be equal without positive 4 being minus by 4? See? You have to put a positive and a negative to equal 0. But then you may ask me, but that seems kind of useless. Why would you have to do the check anyways? Well, in reality, this is the C. And this is not the C. These 3 are the ones that are most useful. This is also useful when we go into vertex. But these 3 are what we count as standard form. And we basically don't count this thing in. So when we do that, do you realize how we got this question? Sorry, this answer? If you said that we may have got this answer from this, you are correct once again. Look here. It is in it's in vertex form, where it says y equals x minus k. Sorry, not k, h squared plus k. In this case, k is negative 4. And you may be asking yourself, is that why we went through all of that just to find this number? Yes. You see, we do the check to find all the numbers that go into here. That's basically what the check is for. So once we found that, we need a 4, so we put positive 4, negative 4. By the way, you always put positive 4 first, and then negative 4. If you don't, you're going to mess yourself up. So after that, we just replace this 2 we found in here with this. You may be wondering, well, couldn't there be another way of finding it? Well, if there is, it's going to first off be very difficult. Second off, I don't think there is. Then you're probably wondering, well, does this really equal this number? Well, let's see. X times x equals x squared. X times negative x, because by the way, remember, it's x minus 2 times x minus 2. So it means x times x equals x squared. X times negative 2 equals negative 2. Then negative 2 times x equals another negative 2, which makes this 4, because negative 2 minus 2 equals this number. Or negative 2 plus negative 2 equals this number. Whichever way you prefer to say it. And then negative 2 times negative 2 equals the plus 4. And we keep the negative 4 here because this is the y-intercept we are going to use. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it now? But then you may be wondering, okay, but don't we still have to state the vertex? Yes, we do. Thank you for reminding me. So the vertex is 2 minus 4. You may be wondering, why is it 2 minus 4? Shouldn't it be negative 2 minus 4? No, because remember, this is x minus h. So if it's a minus h, the sign here is going to be the opposite. So if this was a plus, it was going to be a minus in real life. So if this was plus 2, it's going to be negative 2. And if this was negative, it's going to be positive. I know these numbers in here make no sense. They are absolutely worthless and dumb. You just have to be like this. Just think of it like this. Okay, if this is the answer I get, I know it's the opposite. It is actually positive or a negative number, depending if it's positive or negative. So just think of it like that. By the way, if you're like, but I might get confused between all these numbers. If you're going to get confused between this, because let's be honest, it's very annoying to see, and we see it's so annoying. Like, you would think you would put something around here, like the 3 numbers, to represent that is supposed to be in standard form, and that's why I prefer to put this y equals bracket x squared minus 4x plus 4 bracket, just to separate the 2 numbers so we know what we're going into. Obviously, we're going into vertex form. So let's go with another example. This time we have a y-intercept, but this time we're going to ignore this y-intercept when it comes down to it. Why, you may be asking? Because we're still trying to find the y-intercept of the vertex, and it's very annoying when you're going from standard to vertex, I know. Let's hurry this up though, because, we want to save time. So let's do our check. Since we're using basically the same numbers, we'll just skim through this, since it's all the same numbers. And then we come up with this. And now I'm going to use these brackets just to separate the numbers, because you may get confused. And then you realize, wait, this is negative 4 minus 3. So shouldn't that be negative 7? You are correct once again. And at the same time, we know what the numbers in here are going to equal, since we just did in the last one. But let's just go with it. It's going to equal x minus 2 squared. So it's y equals x minus 2 squared minus 7. And realize that I changed the color of the 7 to represent that these two have mixed together. You don't have to change the color when you're doing a test or a quiz. I just did it so you know where the numbers came up. To make it easier for your eyes to understand what is going on right here. So you now know what's going on. And we have to find the vertex. Let's see. If it's negative, we know it's the opposite, which means it must be positive. So it's positive 2. And since it's plus k, we know it's still the same. So it's minus 7. So that is the vertex right there. We stated the vertex form, and we also stated the vertex. So that is all you need to know. Nothing more you need to understand about this. I just skimmed this through. And I use negative numbers, like for the negative 3, because a lot of you may be confused. What happens if I use a positive number? It's the same thing as use a negative number. Just remember that. But either way, it's been great, guys. Have a wonderful day, wonderful night, wonderful everything. I gotta go. Peace out. See you guys.